It's well known the Australian dairy industry is a pretty tough business to be in, which is one of the reasons why the processing side is dominated by large multinationals. But one small Victorian company has shown there's still plenty of opportunities to be milked in dairy, and that bigger isn't necessarily better.
I often wonder what made me buy the factory. It was a big investment for me. It was a lot more than what I owned at that time. But I did have the confidence that we could get this factory up and running and get it to work efficiently and economically as a viable business.
When Rakesh Agarwal bought this milk powder factory in 2001, it had been mothballed for 4 years. The previous owners, a large dairy processor, had deemed the plant uneconomical. But having worked there as a contract engineer, Mr Agarwal could only see potential.
The technology was quite familiar to me, and I've always been innovative in engineering. In big companies, people are quite risk-averse, while in my own business, I can afford to take the risk, knowing very well that this can fail and mitigate the risk in the best possible manner.
The leap of faith has paid off, with the business recently named Victorian Exporter of the Year.
We did the first year, we barely turned over $1 million. But now, 10 years later, we turned over $83 million in last financial year. Just last 12 to 15 months, we have grown more than 70% in our turnover.
A key contributor to the success has been reining in costs. The factory's capacity has more than doubled, and water and energy usage has been slashed. It's allowed a comparatively small factory to mix it with the capital-rich multinationals, both here and overseas.
I would believe that the cost of production, including overheads, would be lower than these companies because we can afford to pay a better milk price for the milk that we buy. This is the only thing that we have in our control, is to make our plant as efficient as we can. We know from where the world is today that energy cost will keep rising.
Longwarry Food Park produces a small amount of fresh milk for the local market, but its main focus is full cream milk powders.
We export about 90% of our product now to overseas countries. Because Asia is close to Australia and the freight cost is very competitive, 70% of production goes to Asia. The people in Asia are getting wealthier. People are tending to eat more dairy products, and that creates a demand for dairy in Asian countries.
Food security and scarcity are also behind the company's export success.
Australia, being one of the countries that is deemed clean and green, is a preference by most of the customers in Asia and Middle East. A lot of countries in Asia, especially Japan and Korea, have a declining milk supply of their own, while the consumptions are not declining, or in fact it's rising.
Even so, the dairy industry can be cruelly volatile.
During GFC, the prices went down from $5,000 per tonne to $1,800 per tonne, and the volatility hasn't stopped since then.
But for now, the momentum has swung the producers' way.
This has been the best season yet for farmers and for the factory. The production has gone up year-on-year basis quite a bit, and we still have farmers wanting to join us even now when we're in the middle of the season.
As an exporter, Rakesh Agarwal is philosophical about the strong Australian dollar.
The customers buy product in US dollars, and the cost of dollar has to be borne by the Australian farmers and Australian companies. And that's something we have no control on. The only thing we can do is to have a conservative hedging policy and not speculate on currency.
But like many other manufacturers, he doesn't relish the prospect of a carbon tax.
The biggest costs that we have in our business are still the transportation and energy costs. Any tax on energy would increase the cost of production for us.
The price on carbon hasn't dented Mr Agarwal's optimism about the future.
We currently employ 51 people, and in 3 years' time, I believe that we'll employ 100 people on site. We have quite aggressive plans going forward in the business. We plan to increase our turnover threefold in the next 3 years.